We are a service provider in the law space, helping top founders from the world move to the U.S. Immigration is it's much broader than just a visa thing. I've gone through this situation myself so many times. When you're crossing the border, your hands start sweating. So it's more of a mental thing that then becomes a visa thing. When we decided to start StartupVisa, we decided to basically tackle a mindset problem, which is why would immigration have to be something that's hard, that's difficult to grasp, and that feels that it's just a luxury for some people, but rather than just a legal right. Um, this whole thing started with myself going through the process myself, so I'm not just the co-founder, I'm also a client. And basically started off with being lucky enough to find a great lawyer and understanding that moving to the US could actually be simple, far more predictable than most lawyers make it feel, and actually something that has to be, can be painless. It doesn't have to be something that feels like a big hurdle that you're not going to be able to jump. My story with StartupVisa is a funny story because it pretty much comes into my whole life story. I moved around. This is the 10th country I lived in. Moved around quite a bit. Immigration has always been a thing in my life. And then this particular case, I had to go through the process myself very recently. And there was a big discovery moment there, the famous aha moment, where I basically realized that there was this big space that was being totally uncovered by the current legislation, which is this space for innovators and startup founders. But that with some innovation in the process itself could be addressed by existing legislation. So the thing that we've been hearing a lot about StartupVisa is basically an intention of pretty much making a big law reform about the immigration law. The truth is that's been an effort that's been ongoing for many, many years, and even if I'd like for it to be different, I don't see a solution happening in the very short term. So what we're doing is tackling this through the existing legislation. We're looking at what the existing immigration options are, and we decided to actually give it a little twist and be able to cater that for startup founders. When you look at our history as a company, it's actually a very short history. But this doesn't happen if you look at the story of my partner. My partner's been doing immigration for 20 years. Particularly the type of visa we work with or we encourage founders to go for, in most cases, is a visa called EB1, which is a visa of extraordinary abilities. It's ridiculous in the way it sounds. It pretty much sounds like it's the visa that Superman, Batman, maybe Spider-Man could get. But if you're Robin, you're screwed. You have a problem. The lawyer would probably tell you don't qualify. The truth is, I found myself from my personal experience that you don't have to be able to fly to be able to get this visa. And the way I got to finding actually my lawyer, who's now my partner, is through friends, people who actually managed to get their visas, move to the U.S., are now building great companies in the country. And I just pretty much followed their path and then understood that this could actually be something that could be amplified and better explained to a lot of people. So what I'm trying to do is, in a way, just bringing out the message that all that gibberish that you've been reading around from all these different laws doesn't have to be that complex. When you look at what we do, you can probably think of two problems. My background is in venture capital, having actually helped other founders start their own companies. I was a partner with 500 startups up until a couple of months. I was running an accelerator in Mexico City where we actually helped grow more than 80 companies in Latin America. And the biggest question you might have when someone like myself comes and says, this is what I'm doing, is the first thing is like, hey, how do you scale that, The very direct answer to that question is we don't need to go and become the next Facebook. We're actually just changing lives one case at a time. So the way they scale is actually by making sure that every case is handled in the way it should. And once we feel comfortable we can grow this into a bigger team or a bigger offer, we'll do so. The second, the most funny problem that we're having is that people are coming back to us saying, this sounds like a scam, it's too good to be true. I had to go through all these different hurdles to get my residency, and you're actually telling me that I can get it within 3 months. This just doesn't sound right. So I'm taking the time to personally talk to every one of these persons, actually allow them to understand how this is a very different process of the one that they mostly been through. And I think it's just, again, it's a matter of sort of going one person at a time and explaining how this works. And the beauty of this is that I'm proof of this working myself. This is exactly what I did. When I think of success, I'm not sure I have to put a face to it. I think it's rather a fact of sort of a mentality of being able to hold yourself accountable for making good things and just feeling good about going to bed. I think that success, in the same way as failure, is actually a self-inflicted illusion. It's something that we tend to sort of tell ourselves, you know, we are successful, that guy is successful. The truth is, it's all about expectations and how actions or results add up to those expectations. So it's all about sort of being able to do what you have to do, show up, and keep going the day after.